Advanced rudiments. This section of the bonus material I've reserved especially for sticking patterns and phrases that are in their very nature advanced. They require a little bit more from the player and a little bit more from your technique. I do, however, hope that you will persevere with them, and I do hope that you will really have a go at playing them, because they are, as with the stick tricks, good fun to learn. I also apologise in advance for the silly names that some of them have, but please trust me, they do go by these names, and that's what they're recognised as. The first one is called a cheesy triplet. Now, what I want to do is I want to remind you of the flam accent that we learned back in the flam section of the DVD. So flam accent is this: flam left, right, left. And what you do is you place a double stroke within the main note of the flam. So we get this. Quite simple. Sometimes just the flam and the double stroke is referred to as a flam bounce. And that might help you when you're sort of practicing this technique. So, up to speed. On the snare drum. The next one, the next rudiment, is called cheesy diddles. So what you're doing is you're taking the flam paradiddle, which I shall demonstrate, and you're adding the double stroke to the flam note. Okay, so we get this. Or you could look at it like this, playing a drag-a-diddle with a flam. Okay, so up to tempo. On the snare drum. The next advanced rudiment is known as tri-flams, and that's because we're playing 3 flams in a row. You're playing a group of 5, hand to hand. So we get this: 3 flams, 1, 2, 3, left, right, 1, 2, 3, right, left. So if we make that flow. On the snare drum. The next rudiment is known as flam 5s, and you can apply this principle to any of the stroke rudiments that we've looked at in the DVD. But what we're doing is we're playing a flam on the first note of a 5-stroke roll. So the 5-stroke roll is this. And we're playing a flam, so flam bounce. On the drum. The next rudiment is known as cheese inverts. Now, if you remember again back to the flam section of the DVD, we learned inverted flam taps, which was flam left, flam right. So you play a flam and bounce on the flam part of that. Okay, to the drum. This next rudiment is known as the flyver-flar, and it's made up from a patter-flar-flar and a 5-stroke roll. And I'll just remind you of the patter-flar-flar which we've looked at previously. Okay, loop that round. Now we add the 5-stroke roll to this, or what we do is we double up on the flam note at the beginning and the second note in the sequence, so it becomes this. To the snare drum. At this point, I'm going to mention once again, as I'm sure you've heard through many points in this DVD, control with the flams and control with the double strokes is really, really important. We have to remember that this head is not as responsive as the rubber pad. Okay, and the penultimate advanced rudiment is known as 3/2s. And what we're doing here is we're quite simply playing 3 beats with our right hand and 2 beats with the left hand. Now, there's nothing to stop you playing 3 beats with the left hand and 2 beats with the right hand, but I'm just going to demonstrate the combination that feels most comfortable to me and the one that I use more often than not. So we have to the snare drum. This rudiment is also known as a staggered roll because when played at speed, the roll feels as though it's staggered, or sounds as though it's staggered. So remember, it's 3 beats with the right hand, 2 beats with the left. And this is a really, really good opportunity to practice the drop pivot catch action and the drop catch action. Okay, so here we go. The next rudiment is known as a choo-choo, and that's because it sounds like a train, interestingly enough, and it's made up from a paradiddle. Now, a paradiddle, as we all know, is right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left. And what we're doing is we're placing a flam on the double stroke portion of the paradiddle, so the right, left, right, right. Now, what's really important here is we don't place an accent with that flammed note. So we're not going, we're keeping the note very, very low, and we're controlling the flam, so like this. Okay, so we get. On the snare drum, again, control with that flam is required. And then we have some advanced rudiments.